Let's step into the world of Charlie Walker, a man whose life echoed the very essence of country music, raw, heartfelt, and rooted in the soil of Texas. Born into a time when survival meant long days under a scorching sun, Charlie turned his hardships into songs that still resonate today. He was the honky-tonk voice that captured the laughter and tears of everyday folks, a singer who never forgot where he came from. In this story, we'll explore the journey of Charles Levi Walker, from his boyhood on a cotton farm to the bright lights of Nashville, uncovering the triumphs, the quiet struggles, and the legacy that makes him unforgettable. His path was filled with hit records that topped the charts, personal bonds that shaped his music, and a steadfast commitment to the traditions of country that set him apart. As we unfold his tale, you'll see how one man's voice became a bridge between the old ways and the changing times, reminding us all of the power in staying true to your roots. Texas in the 1920s was a place of stark contrasts. Vast skies stretched over prairies dotted with oil derricks in the booming regions. But in the rural heartlands like Collin County, life revolved around the land. Families toiled on small farms, planting and harvesting crops like cotton, which demanded endless labor from dawn till dusk. The air carried the scent of turned earth and sweat, and economic pressures were mounting as the Great Depression approached. Radio sets, a luxury for many, began broadcasting early country pioneers like Jimmy Rogers, known as the Singing Brakeman, whose yodeling tunes spoke of wanderlust and woe, and the Carter family, whose harmonious ballads preserved Appalachian folk traditions. These sounds offered a brief respite from the daily grind, inspiring young dreamers across the South. It was into this environment that Charles Levi Walker arrived on November 2nd, 1926, in the small community of Copeville, roughly 35 miles northeast of Dallas. His father worked as a cotton farmer and also served as a local lawman and justice of the peace, enforcing order in a region where disputes over land and livestock were common. This dual role meant discipline was a constant in the household, but it also instilled in Charlie a sense of fairness and resilience. Growing up, he learned the rhythms of farm life firsthand, the repetitive motion of picking cotton bolls, feeling the sharp pricks of the plants against his skin, and the relief of a cool breeze after hours in the heat. The smell of fresh rain on dry soil became a symbol of hope in tough times, while the persistent calluses on his hands were badges of endurance. Yet music provided an early escape. His father, with his own guitar skills, would play simple melodies in the evenings, encouraging Charlie to join in. These were songs about lost love, financial struggles, and the occasional comfort found in a drink, themes that mirrored the realities around them. Charlie's voice developed naturally, absorbing the authenticity of these narratives. As a teenager, he started performing at local events such as community picnics or church gatherings, where his guitar playing drew appreciative nods. His fingers moved with instinctive grace over the strings, turning personal experiences into melodies. This wasn't about fame. It was a way to process the world, to find joy amid the challenges of rural existence. Charlie's childhood blended hard work with moments of excitement. At age 17, in 1943, he took a bold step by joining Bill Boyd's Cowboy Ramblers, a popular band based in Dallas. This group specialized in Western swing, a lively fusion of country fiddles, steel guitars, and jazz rhythms that got feet tapping in dance halls across Texas. For a young man straight from the farm, this was a thrilling shift. Entering dimly lit venues filled with the haze of cigarette smoke, the clink of glasses, and the energy of live performances. Strumming alongside seasoned musicians, Charlie honed his skills, learning to read crowds and deliver songs with charisma. The experience ignited a passion for the stage, showing him that music could be more than a hobby. However, global events intervened. World War II demanded service from young Americans, and Charlie enlisted in the U.S. Army. Instead of combat duties, he was stationed in Tokyo, where he worked as a disc jockey for the Armed Forces Radio Network. This role involved selecting and playing records for troops far from home, offering a slice of American culture through music. He introduced soldiers to current country hits, sometimes adding his own vocal performances to boost morale. The broadcasts reached homesick listeners who craved familiar sounds amid the chaos of war. This period was transformative. The end of the conflict in 1945 ushered in a surge for country music, particularly the honky-tonk style that emerged in bars frequented by returning veterans. These venues, with their neon lights and jukeboxes, became havens for expressing post-war disillusionment. Charlie came back to the States with enhanced broadcasting expertise and a renewed dedication to the genre. He moved to Corpus Christi in South Texas, assembling his own group called the Texas Ramblers. They performed at local spots, building a following with energetic sets. Seeking steady income, Charlie transitioned to radio in 1951, securing a position at KMAC in San Antonio. He remained there for 10 years, later moving to Ken's until 1963. His on-air persona earned him the endearing nickname Old Poke Salad, cotton-picking, bowl-pulling, corn-shucking, snuff-dipping Charlie Walker. This playful moniker highlighted his rural background, making him relatable to listeners who tuned in daily. His shows felt like casual conversations, as if he were sitting across the kitchen table sharing stories and songs. The radio era truly molded Charlie Walker into the artist he became, weaving together his deep-seated passion for music with a genuine talent for building heartfelt connections with his audience. Starting in 1951 at KMAC in San Antonio, where he would remain for a full decade, Charlie didn't just spin records. He crafted immersive listening experiences that transported everyday folks into the world of country music. As rock and roll exploded onto the scene in the mid-1950s, with its electric guitars and rebellious energy from artists like Elvis Presley shaking up the airwaves, Charlie stood as a steadfast guardian of country's authentic spirit. He carefully selected songs that captured the genre's roots, blending heartfelt ballads with upbeat tunes that spoke to the working-class listeners tuning in from their kitchens or trucks. His shows were more than broadcasts. They were lifelines, offering comfort and camaraderie during a time when musical tastes were shifting rapidly. Charlie's on-air style was warm and approachable, earning him a spot among the nation's top 10 country music disc jockeys, as recognized by industry peers. He often shared personal anecdotes from his farm days, making listeners feel like old friends, and his colorful nickname, Old Poke Salad, cotton-picking, bowl-pulling, corn-shucking, snuff-dipping Charlie Walker, became a beloved trademark that highlighted his down-to-earth Texas charm. Influences like Hank Williams profoundly shaped him. Williams' soulful laments such as Your Cheatin' Heart or I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry delivered raw emotion that cut straight to the bone, painting pictures of heartbreak and loneliness that mirrored the struggles Charlie had seen in his own rural upbringing. Equally impactful was Lefty Frizzell, the undisputed master of the honky-tonk shuffle, a distinctive style characterized by its steady swaying rhythm that begged for two-stepping on a sawdust-covered dance floor, paired with lyrics dripping in emotional depth over a backdrop of steel guitar and fiddle. Frizzell's hits like If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time showcased how to convey a spectrum of feelings, from exuberant joy to gut-wrenching despair, all with an effortless authenticity that Charlie strived to emulate. He admired how these performers turned personal pain into universal stories, using simple yet poignant words to connect on a human level. This inspiration fueled Charlie's own aspirations. While he was content and thriving behind the microphone, responding to listener requests and sharing the latest releases, a quiet yearning burned inside him for the thrill of creating his own music and stepping into the spotlight as a performer. In the early 1950s, as he balanced his DJ duties, Charlie began experimenting with recording to test the waters of a singing career. He cut a series of singles for smaller independent labels like Imperial Records, where he released tracks such as Out of Money, Out of Place, Out of Style in 1952, and later for Mercury Records, including efforts like I'm Looking for Another You in 1954. These early recordings were modest affairs, often produced on tight budgets in local studios, capturing Charlie's developing voice, a smooth, warm tenor with that unmistakable Texas twang that evoked images of endless prairies and dusty backroads. Though they didn't achieve national breakthrough success and remained mostly regional favorites, playing in Texas honky-tonks and on local radio, they served as crucial building blocks. Each session honed his skills, teaching him about phrasing, timing, and how to infuse songs with emotional sincerity. The lack of widespread traction could have been discouraging, but instead, it built his confidence and resilience, reinforcing his belief that persistence would pay off in an industry known for its ups and downs. The long-awaited breakthrough arrived in 1956, right in the midst of his successful tenure at KMAC, when Charlie signed with the more prominent Decca Records, a label with a strong reputation for nurturing country talent, having worked with legends like Ernest Tubb and Red Foley. This deal marked a turning point, giving him access to better production resources and wider distribution. His debut single for Decca, Only You, which he co-wrote with collaborator Jack Newman, climbed impressively to number 9 on the Billboard country charts. This mid-tempo ballad unfolded like a tender confession, its lyrics carrying a poignant edge of romantic longing and vulnerability. Only you can make my dreams come true, set against a gentle melody that allowed Charlie's voice to shine. The song resonated deeply with audiences, who connected with its themes of unrequited love and quiet hope, much like the everyday heartaches they faced. Charlie's delivery was heartfelt and unpretentious, his subtle Texas accent adding a layer of authenticity that made the track feel personal and relatable, as if he were singing directly to a listener, nursing a broken heart in a dimly lit bar. The success not only validated his dual role as a DJ and aspiring singer, but also put him firmly on the industry's radar, proving that his talents extended far beyond the radio booth. Fans and critics alike noted how his voice captured the wide-open landscapes of his homeland, evoking a sense of vastness and solitude. Yet even with this achievement, Charlie knew it was merely the opening act in what promised to be a series of greater triumphs, setting the stage for his evolution into a honky-tonk staple. By 1958, Charlie's career trajectory shifted dramatically upward, largely due to his close friendship with Ray Price, a fellow Texan and one of the era's premier honky-tonk icons, whose own shuffle beat style had become legendary. The two men bonded over shared roots in rural Texas and their mutual love for the genre, often spending leisurely fishing trips on quiet lakes, swapping stories about the music business, life on the road, and the challenges of staying true to traditional sounds amid changing trends. These outings weren't just recreational. They fostered a professional alliance that proved invaluable. Price, recognizing the raw potential in Charlie's voice and song choices, particularly his ability to deliver emotional depth with a tough, twangy edge, used his influence to help secure a contract for Charlie with Columbia Records, a major label known for its roster of country heavyweights. Once signed, Price went a step further by contributing harmony vocals to several of Charlie's recordings, layering in rich, complementary tones that enhanced the overall sound and gave the tracks a polished yet authentic feel, much like the close-knit camaraderie of a live honky-tonk band. Charlie's first recording session at Columbia, held on June 5th under the guidance of veteran producer Don Law, who had a knack for steering careers, having previously worked with stars like Johnny Cash and Marty Robbins, yielded an instant classic. The standout track originated from Harlan Howard, a then struggling songwriter who was eking out a living as a forklift operator in California factory, far from the glitz of Nashville. Howard's composition "Pick Me Up on Your Way Down" was a masterpiece of honky-tonk craftsmanship, embodying the style's essence with its infectious shuffling rhythm that naturally invited couples to the dance floor, twin fiddles weaving in melodic flair for added texture, and lyrics that painted a vivid portrait of a romance gone awry with sharp, realistic bite. The song's narrative unfolded like a barroom confession, chronicling the downfall of a once high-flying lover now facing reality. You've got your kicks, you've had your fun, the party's over, the rum is gone. This good thing you've been living on is coming to an end. Charlie delivered these lines with a weary, exhausted acceptance that felt profoundly lived in, his voice conveying the quiet resignation of someone who's seen too many such stories play out in real life. The authenticity stemmed from Charlie's own experiences and observations, making the performance not just a song, but a slice of post-war American life. Released in the late fall of 1958, "Pick Me Up on Your Way Down" quickly ascended the charts, peaking at number 1, 2, and holding strong for an impressive 22 weeks, a testament to its enduring appeal. This hit not only catapulted Charlie into national prominence, but also launched Harlan Howard's songwriting career, establishing him as a go-to wordsmith for heartfelt country tales. The song perfectly encapsulated the melancholic undercurrents rippling through post-war America, where returning veterans and hard-working folks often sought solace in dimly lit taverns, nursing beers, while reflecting on lost loves and shattered dreams. Its shuffle beat, influenced by the Texas dancehall tradition, became a staple in jukeboxes and live sets, encouraging listeners to find catharsis through movement and melody. Building on this momentum, Charlie followed up in 1959 with "I'll Catch You When You Fall," a supportive anthem of loyalty that charted well with its uplifting yet realistic tone, and "When My Conscience Hurts the Most," an introspective ballad delving into guilt and regret, both tracks achieving solid positions on the charts. These releases further refined Charlie's signature shuffle style, drawing heavily from Ray Price's smooth sophistication, but infusing it with Charlie's own distinct rugged twang that added layers of emotional weight and grit, making his music feel both familiar and freshly compelling. This period marked Charlie as a rising force in honky-tonk, blending tradition with personal flair in a way that resonated deeply with fans craving genuine storytelling. The 1960s marked the peak of Charlie's success, a period where he consistently delivered music that captured hearts. In 1960, "Who Will Buy the Wine" emerged as a classic, a swinging number lamenting poor choices with a catchy beat perfect for dance floors. It posed reflective questions about regret, becoming a fixture in honky-tonks. 5 years later, "Wild as a Wildcat" brought a lively, mischievous vibe, showcasing his versatility. Close All the Honky-Tonks that same year sold over 50,000 copies, marking an early win for producer Billy Sherrill, who would later shape country giants. Charlie's albums demonstrated his breadth. The 1965 release, Close All the Honky-Tonks, featured anthems like Honky-Tonk Blues and covers of The Wild Side of Life, evoking the atmosphere of bustling bars. Wine, Women, and Walker, in 1966, balanced somber reflections with lighter moments. A notable original was Little Old Wine Drinker Me, portraying a figure lost in alcohol-fueled introspection. It gained wider fame through covers by Dean Martin and Robert Mitchum, crossing into pop territory. Charlie excelled in novelty songs too. Don't Squeeze My Charmin from 1967, sparked by a Charmin toilet paper commercial, hit the top 10 with its witty pun on a fragile relationship, comparing love to something soft and easily damaged. Similarly, I Wouldn't Take Her to a Dogfight delivered humor with its punchline, not even if she had a chance to win, poking fun at mismatched partnerships. Amid these commercial highs, personal and professional landmarks added richness. In 1967, Charlie achieved a dream by becoming a member of the Grand Ole Opry, the premier institution for country music. Stepping onto that historic Nashville stage among peers like Loretta Lynn and George Jones affirmed his journey from humble beginnings. He became a regular, his straightforward honky-tonk performances, attracting devoted fans who appreciated the genuineness. The glamour of Las Vegas beckoned as well. Between 1965 and 1967, he performed 25 weeks at the Golden Nugget Casino, entertaining affluent audiences while maintaining his grounded style. His 1969 live album, recorded live in Dallas, Texas, preserved the vibrancy of these shows with enthusiastic crowds responding to favorites. Charlie showed adaptability by covering the Rolling Stones' Honky Tonk Women in 1969, prompted by a record executive. He viewed the lyrics as somewhat risque, but proceeded reversing the usual trend of country artists being covered by rock acts. Though it charted modestly, it highlighted his openness to evolution without abandoning his core. Beyond the music, Charlie's personal life provided a stable foundation. He married Margie Sue Pate in 1948, a union that offered support through the volatile music business. Together they built a large family, eventually including 10 children, and by his later years 20 grandchildren. While Charlie guarded his privacy, some records indicate a possible second marriage to Connie, who survived him, adding layers to his domestic story. Contrary to the roguish characters in his songs, those close to him portrayed Charlie as kind-hearted, dependable, and quick with a clever remark. A touching memory from his DJ days illustrates this. Listeners would send letters detailing their personal woes, and Charlie would select songs that addressed them directly, creating a sense of intimate connection over the airwaves. His friendship with Ray Price extended beyond work. Their fishing outings on serene Texas lakes fostered storytelling sessions that inspired the harmonies on his albums. However, challenges loomed as the decade shifted. The 1970s saw country music transforming, with the polished Nashville sound softening rough edges and rock elements integrating via artists like Glenn Campbell. Charlie remained committed to honky-tonk, but his chart presence diminished. Releases like Honky-Tonkin' with Charlie Walker in 1971 and I Don't Mind Going Under in 1972 upheld his traditions, featuring songs such as God Save the Queen of the Honky-Tonks, a tribute to his beloved scene. His final chart appearance came in 1975 with Odds and Ends, Bits and Pieces on Capitol Records. Debates arose about whether he was overshadowed by progress. Some critics suggested his adherence to classic styles limited his appeal, while admirers celebrated his integrity. Charlie avoided personal controversies, with his mild hesitation over the Stones cover being the nearest to drama. It was more amusing than contentious. Broader discussions in the industry questioned honky-tonk's viability amid emerging trends like the outlaw country of Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. Charlie represented a transitional figure, linking Hank Williams's unfiltered emotion to these new waves, handling the shifts with poise and without resentment. In the years following the 1970s, Charlie reduced his touring schedule but remained engaged. He revisited radio, which led to his 1981 induction into the Country Radio DJ Hall of Fame, honoring his lasting impact on broadcasting. In 1985, he ventured into film with a cameo in Sweet Dreams, the biopic of Patsy Cline, portraying Cowboy Copas, a subtle homage to his heritage. His philanthropic efforts stood out as a dedicated Freemason and Shriner, achieving the 33rd degree in the Scottish Rite. He established the Charlie Walker Golf Invitational. This annual event generated funds for Shriners Hospitals for Children, aiding young patients with disabilities. The initiative reflected his empathetic nature, focusing on community support. A lesser-known incident highlights this. On a visit to one such hospital, Charlie brought his guitar and created an impromptu, whimsical song for a child in treatment, eliciting laughter and lightening the moment. It was a private act of kindness, far from the public eye, embodying his character. Charlie spent his final years in Hendersonville, Tennessee, enjoying tranquility with his family. Colon cancer emerged as a formidable adversary, and on September 12, 2008, at the age of 81, he passed away. He rests in Hendersonville Memory Gardens, where his Find a Grave memorial has accumulated hundreds of virtual flowers, symbols of ongoing admiration. His legacy endures profoundly. By safeguarding honky-tonk's core, the infectious shuffle beats and tales of ordinary trials, amid encroaching pop influences, Charlie influenced successors like George Strait, who echoed his traditionalism, and contemporary artists reviving classic sounds. Culturally, he anchored country music in its origins of rural perseverance, imparting lessons in endurance and finding happiness in modest pleasures. His songs subtly addressed working-class concerns, offering understated insights into societal issues. In today's polished, market-driven genre, Charlie's relevance lies in his authenticity, a blend of imperfections, humor, and sincerity that feels timeless. Reflecting on Charlie Walker, we see not an overlooked figure, but the embodiment of country spirit, someone who ascended from farm labor to iconic performances, who embraced life's pains with grace and contributed selflessly. His story encourages us to value our heritage even as change swirls around. It prompts consideration of what we cherish in our own lives. Thank you for exploring this with me. If his narrative moved you, like the video, subscribe for similar profiles, and share your top honky-tonk song in the comments. Keep those melodies alive until we meet again.